Hi, and welcome to this next video on OCR A-Level Biology. We're starting Module 5.7, which is about respiration. So, in this video, we're going to give you a brief overview of respiration, as well as look at the structure of the mitochondria. So, respiration. So, why do living organisms need to respire? So, respiration is the process that occurs in living cells and releases the energy stored in organic molecules such as glucose. The energy is immediately used to synthesize molecules of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. ATP cells can be hydrolyzed to release energy which is needed to drive certain metabolic processes. So microbes, as well as microbes as well as all other organisms such as plants, animals, fungi, and protists, they all respire to obtain energy. So why do living organisms need energy? Well, they need energy for a number of different processes, such as active transport, endocytosis, exocytosis, synthesis of large molecules such as proteins, DNA replication, cell division, movement, obviously, activation of certain chemicals as well. So all chemical reactions that take place are known as metabolism or metabolic reactions, and we classify those into two types. So there's two types of metabolic processes are anabolism, anabolism, which is the building reactions. Sorry, my handwriting's not very good. This pen isn't working that really well. And catabolism, which is which are known as breakdown reactions. My pen is out of control today. Oops. So those are the two types of reactions, metabolic reactions that occur within living cells. So both plants and animals do respiration, but plants also do photosynthesis, which we'll cover in a separate series. Which is covered in a separate series, which I will do. So all organisms you do respiration in order to produce this molecule here, this molecule is known as ATP. So this molecule here is ATP. And we can divide ATP into three different segments. So this first segment here, well, mainly two different segments, but I'm going to split it into three. So this is our adenine base. Adenine base. This here, why is my pen not working well today? This here is our ribose sugar. Oops. And then here we have three phosphates. So remember, ATP, this stands for adenosine triphosphate. Sorry for my pen's not really working today. So you're just gonna have to deal with really bad writing. So this is called adenosine triphosphate. Now if we cleave off this bond here between this second phosphate and this third phosphate, if we cleave off that phosphate, we get something called adenosine diphosphate, or ADP. So as you can see here, and that releases quite a bit of energy. that actually releases 30.5 kilojoules per mole of energy when we cleave off ATP to make ADP. And then when we cleave ADP again, we release another phosphate group and we produce another 30.5 kilojoules per mole to produce AMP. And then when we cleave off the final phosphate, we only get 13.8 kilojoules per mole. So ATP is a relatively stable molecule. It does not break down to ADP and PR when in solution in cells, but it's readily hydrolyzed by enzyme catalysts. So enzymes require ATP, most enzymes require ATP in order to function, essentially. So that's ATP and the uses of ATP. So now we're going to look at the structure of the mitochondrion, which is up here. So the mitochondria are organelles which are responsible for respiration. So let's label this mitochondrion here. So the mitochondria is made up of an outer membrane, which is the outer membrane is this section here. I don't know how you would draw it. Ah, yes, the outer membrane is this section here. So the outer membrane is this. Why is my pen going out of hand? So, as I said, this is the outer membrane. We then have the inner membrane, which is here. And then inside here, this is called the so here we have the, where is it? Intermembrane space. We have an intermembrane space in here. I don't think it's labeled. Intermembrane space. And then inside we have something called the matrix. So this is the mitochondrial matrix, which is this fluid stuff within the inner membrane. And the inner membrane is actually folded up into something called cristae. So these here are the cristae. And then, yep, here you can see little dots here. These are the stored particles, and these are the ATP synthase enzymes. These are the ATP synthase enzymes you can see here. And mitochondria have DNA. So this is the mitochondrial DNA within the mitochondria. So that's just a brief introduction as to what respiration is and why cells need to do respiration. Now we're going to look at an overview of respiration. So respiration can be broken down into two main forms: aerobic and anaerobic. So they both follow slightly different pathways, aerobic from anaerobic, but they both start with the main first step. They both have the same first step, I'm trying to say, and this step is called glycolysis. This is when the glucose is converted into pyruvate via a series of steps. It's a 10-step process where the glucose is converted into pyruvate. Now, the fate of pyruvate is determined by whether there's oxygen or not. If there's no oxygen, pyruvate will enter anaerobic respiration and will either go into form lactate, So this is actually known as fermentation. So this is called fermentation, and it will go into lactate, and this is done in animals, mainly humans. So like human muscle cells, you get red blood cells, so RBCs will do this as well. So that's lactate fermentation, and also there's ethanol fermentation, which is done in plants, as well as yeast or fungi, certain fungi, such as yeast. So that's when there's no oxygen available. So this is no O2. But when there is O2, then pyruvate will enter the mitochondria and be converted into acetyl-CoA to go into aerobic respiration. And there's more steps for aerobic respiration. So this step here is called the link reaction. This is when the pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA, and this acetyl-CoA is then fed into the Krebs cycle, also known as the TCA cycle. So the Krebs cycle, so this acetyl-CoA will be fed into the Krebs cycle to produce lots and lots and lots of NADH and FADH2, more on this in the incoming videos. And that NADH and FADH2 will then be fed into oxidative phosphorylation, and chemiosmosis, where you get mass production of ATP production, and then oxygen. This is why oxygen is needed. Oxygen is the final electron acceptor, where oxygen will accept the two hydrogens to form H2O, and CO2 is produced as well, and also ATP is produced. So glycolysis in itself produces some ATP, but not a lot compared to oxidative phosphorylation. So oxidative phosphorylation is a major step in producing lots and lots and lots of ATP within aerobic respiration. We'll explain more about this in the coming videos, but basically this is just a brief overview of respiration. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say for this video here. So in the next video, we're going to start the first step of both aerobic and anaerobic respiration, which is glycolysis. So thank you all very much for watching. Hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.